स्वारकं वन्दे रूप सनातनं रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतां वनिधि तत्त्वातो नमसे समण्डलपति शनिं सदा तुच्छम भूत्वा दीनगणेशकरुणया कोऽपि न कण्ठाश्रितौ तत्त्वातो नमसे समण्डलपति शनिं सदा तुच्छव भूत्वा दीनगणेशकरुणया कोऽपि न कण्ठाश्रितौ गोपीभावरसामृताभिलहरी कल्लोलमग्नोन्मुहो वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकौ कृष्ण कीर्तन कानन तन परं प्रेमामृतं वनिधि कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतं वनिधि कुजत कोकिलहं संसार सुगण कीर्णमयूराकुले नानारत्ननिबद्धमूलपिटप श्रीयुक्तवृन्दावने राधाकृष्णमहर्निशं प्रभजतौ जीवार्थदौ जौ मुदा वन्दे रूपसनातनं रघुजुगं श्रीजीव गोपालकं कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन तन परं प्रेमामृतं वनिधि धीराधीरजनप्रियं प्रियकरं निर्मत्सरं पूजितं शङ्खापूर्वकनामगाननतिभिः कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहारविहारकादिविदितं चत्तन्तौ दीनौ च जं शङ्खापूर्वकनामगाननतिभिः कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहारविहारकादिविदितं चत्तन्तौ दीनौ च जं गोपीभावरसामृताभिलहरी कल्लोलमग्नौ नमः।
Hare Krishna. Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭaka Prabhu is not there. Who's hosting?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭaka Prabhu is not.
Krishna. He's sick, is he? He's sick? Śrī Dāma is sick?
He went to Caloocan Center for a Siksha ceremony, but he's on the way back now.
Okay. Can you hear me out there?
Yes, Maharaj.
I see devotees in Philippines, Malaysia, Brisbane, Australia. This now. So, huh? This one. I know. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Can you hear it in Christchurch, Wellington, wherever you are? Can, okay. So, I don't know if Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭaka is still with us. Hare Krishna, everybody. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining us today. And Rambhadra, nice to see you, Prabhu. You are looking very, oh, there you are. Hare Krishna. So I guess we'll begin. We're on the last verse of today of the Dāmodarāṣṭakam. And we've 1 day, maybe 2 days left of the divine month of Damodar, Kartik months. So please join us and try to remember the divine form of Damodar Krishna. Remember, our book marathon is about to begin, and probably the biggest book distribution party ISKCON has ever known was the Radha Damodar party, inspired by Vishnu Jan Swami and Tamal Krishna Goswami in the mid-70s. So Damodar, may Radha Damodar empower you all during this marathon to distribute as many books as you can. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Asachari Shatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasarani, Gaura Bhaktavrindam, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari, Gaura Bhaktavrindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Go Premanande Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Stataya Sadashvesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Kartik Vrata ki jai. Anything on the calendar today? Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai. Brihat Madanga ki jai. Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Shri Radha Parasishwar ki jai, Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Panchatattva ki jai, Shri Nitai Sashi Sutta ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Nothing? Oh. Shri Nitai Gaur Hari ki jai, Shri Nitai Sundago Nataraj ki jai, Shri Bhagarbha Goswami Tirobhava Mahotsav ki jai. Shri Kashishwar Pandit Tirobhava Mahotsav ki jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Grand. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswate Devi. Gaudavani Bacharine Navasesha Sunyavadi. Pastachade Shatarine. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada. The day of Tirobhava Bhagarbha Goswami Kashishwar Pandit, two great devotees of Lord Chaitanya who are prominent, especially in Vrindavan Dham, in uncovering of these wonderful places of Krishna's pastimes. Those who've been, perhaps you've been to Vrindavan, many of you, and many of you have not been in that sense to Vrindavan, but you may go to that place there, Brahmanda Ghat, on the river Jamuna, a little downstream from Mathura, and that place there, Gokul, they call Gokul, the area of Gokul, where Krishna's childhood pastimes took place, including the many pastimes took place there. The pastime of Damodar Lila. In fact, it was shortly after this particular pastime of breaking the twin Arjuna trees, and this pastime of which we are honoring and remembering and relishing and entering into this every moment this month. That pastime took place there in Gokul, the home of Nanda Baba, And Krishna's playing in the courtyard, as we've been hearing the last, and going outside the court into the lanes. Here and there, Krishna's going to discover or find new places of pleasure. A little child doesn't go very far normally, but on this occasion, Krishna took advantage of it. He went to discover new places here, there, and everywhere. He was going, pulling the mortar, enjoying himself, exciting adventures. And of course, eventually, when Krishna, the time came to pull down those 2 Arjuna trees, deliver them from their bondage. It's, I think in Kartik Mahatmya describes how Krishna decided then, he felt, now I know what it's like to be bound up. And let me release them now from their bondage. So he released Nalakuvar and Manigriva from their bondage, being tied up in the bodies of trees a long, long time. The curse of Narada, which was a tremendous blessing, as we heard yesterday, bestowed upon Nalakuvar and Manigriva, the greatest boon of prema, or love of Godhead, eternally situated in loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. So today we're on the last verse of the Damodarāṣṭakam, and we'll sing it together now, if you wish to join us in singing this last song with all of our hearts. Glorification of the Lord's, well, it's interesting, it's not just glorification of the Lord, but glorification of the Lord's limbs, and his associates, and his leelas, and of course that divine rope which bound his belly, like that, various objects of glorification. Everything about Krishna, everything related to Krishna is absolutely glorious, and it's worthy of glorification. Jai Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭaka ki jai. Namaste tu Dhamme, Spuradipti Dhamme, Tudiho Durayata Vishvasya Dhamme. Namaste tu Dhamme, Puradipti Dhamme, Vadiya Durayata Vishvasya Dhamme. Namaste tu Dhamme, Puradipti Dhamme, Vadiyo Durayata Vishvasya Dhamme. Namaste tu Dhamme, Puradipti Dhamme, Vadiyo Durayata Vishvasya Dhamme. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaye, Namo Mantalilaya Devaya Tobhyam. Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaye, Namo Mantalilaya Devaya Tobhyam. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaye, Namo Mantalilaya Devaya Tobhyam. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaye, Namo Mantalilaya Devaya Tobhyam. Namaste tu Dhamme, Puradipti Dhamme, Tvadiyo Durayata Vishvasya Dhamme. Namo Radhikaya Tadiya Piyaye Namo Talilaya Devatavyam Namo Radhikaya Tadiya Piyaye Namo Talilaya Devatavyam Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Damodara Radha, Damodara Radhe. Radha, Damodara Radha, Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha, Damodara Radha. Damodara Radhe, Radha Damodara Radha, Damodara Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Jai Shri Dāmodarāṣṭaka ki jai, Shri Dāmodarāṣṭaka ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, glorious to the assembled devotees. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhastaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namani, Namaste Sarasvati Devo, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paschachade Shatarine. So you see in this verse, Damne, 3 times mentioned, unto you, or unto. We offer our homage, our worship, our devotion unto. And that will come up in a little while. Namo or Namaha, one's obeisances unto. And another word that comes up a few times in this particular verse, Tvadiya. Tvadiya is that which is related to the Lord. Everything is related to Krishna, and Krishna conscious literally means to bring everything in relationship with the Lord, to see everything in relationship with Krishna. And we see this month, Prabhupada, of course, he stayed in the Radha Damodar temple for a long time, right there in front of those beautiful deities of Radha Damodar, Radha Chauchikan, Radha Vrindavan, Chandra, and Radha Madhava there, the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, becoming empowered by the grace of Radha Damodar. He bound Krishna, you could say, by his devotion, just like Mother Yasoda did, by his love. and Krishna empowered him, order of his Gurudev, to spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world, to deliver all the bound souls. Is understood by this pastime how Mother Yasoda was able to bind Krishna by her love, and by hearing this pastime, by being able to, let's say, associate with this pastime, it helps to release us from our bondage in the material. This is one of the magical aspects of Krishna's pastimes, is that they actually they're not just nice pastimes to remember, but they have a practical effect of actually releasing us from the bondage of this material world, or releasing us from various anarthas which are inhabiting our consciousness. So hearing the pastimes of the Lord is the most recommended method for those who are struggling in this material world of Maya, of birth and death. It's said that this is the only real panacea, the only real relief from our bondage, from our perpetual cycle of samsara within this world. The real relief is to hear the pastimes of Krishna. So today we'll finish this Damodarāṣṭakam verses. We never finished them, but we'll cover the last verse now, which we've just sung, and we'll read the translation to this verse. Give me a second. O Lord Damodar, obeisance unto the brilliantly effulgent rope binding your belly. Obeisance unto your belly, the abode of the entire universe. Obeisance unto your dear, most beloved Srimati Radharani. And obeisance unto you, O Lord, who display unlimited pastimes. So, a lot of offering our obeisances to various aspects of Krishna's name, form, pastimes, and qualities. So we just go through briefly the commentary of Srila Sanatana Goswami on this verse from his Digdarshani Tika. At the conclusion of this prayer, in order to summarize the presentation of topics that are being prayed for, and also to arouse the attributes of bhakti, obeisances are given separately unto Bhagavan's unique binding, bodily limbs, associates, and so on, in the verse beginning with Namaste, Namaste Stu, Namaste Astu. Yes, offering our obeisances unto Namaste Astu. It is stated, Te Dhamne Namostu. I bow down to the Mahapasa, which means the magnificent rope that binds your belly. What is this grand rope like? What is it like? It's not like an ordinary rope. As you may know, when Mother Yasoda, finally seeing her son fearful, she put down her stick, which she was to chastise him with, decided what to do. And it's common practice, maybe still in the villages, I don't know, that they tie the child up for some time to keep the child from creating mischief. As a little punishment, a little warning, etc. So she decided she would tie him to that mortar. Who can tie the unlimited personality of Godhead? Only a pure devotee. As we heard yesterday, only by his mercy is it possible. All of her endeavors are of no avail in one sense without the mercy of Krishna. But the endeavor of a sincere devotee is maybe the primary, or at least one of the primary reasons for evoking the mercy of Krishna. So that endeavor must be there. We depend on Krishna at the same time. So Krishna agreed to be bound up by his mother's love. Krishna, as we heard the day last week, Bhaktavatsal, that this is his primary characteristic, that he loves his devotees so much, he submits to them. He submits to them. So here we see this magnificent rope which Mother Yasoda, it wasn't just one rope, as you know. She tried to bind Krishna with quite a long piece of rope, but it was almost 2 inches too short. she added ropes. Various gopis in the area were giving her more and more ropes, tying them together, trying to tie Krishna's around the waist. Dhamma, of course, means and we'll come to that in a minute, around the waist, bound around the waist. So she tried to tie him with rope after rope, hundreds and hundreds of meters of rope, but still she couldn't tie him. Like we see in the teaching or the Brahma Samhita, how how impersonalists, yogis, meditators, speculators, they try to measure Krishna, they try to capture Krishna within the realm of their mental capacities, with their analytical studies, etc. But they cannot catch Krishna. You cannot catch Krishna if you move at the speed of the mind. He's unconquerable. He cannot be caught like that. And so many last times are there where people thought they could capture Krishna, but only by pure love can he be caught. There was no other method whatsoever. So even Mother Yasoda, while she was exhausting her stock of rope, and she was also exhausted when Krishna saw her madness, or let's say her absolute devotion in trying to bind him, he allowed it. Krishna enjoys being controlled by his devotees more than he enjoys controlling. It's much. Sometimes people want to become God or something like that. And those who are invited, those who are theistic, they want to just be serving God in various ways. It's nice. And those who are impersonalists become God, merge into the Brahman or something like that. The devotee, not that we aspire to become greater than God, but the Lord rewards this, that his confidential devotees are actually, Krishna submits himself to their will. He allows them to basically, like Mother Yasoda, to behave in a way that she's the controller of God. She doesn't see Krishna as God. She sees him as her little child who needs to be protected, who needs to be guided and taught properly, who needs to be fed and clothed, otherwise he'll starve, and all the various, say, necessities of a child. She's very concerned protecting her child, particularly from demon after demon or dangers of the forest, etc. Mother Yasoda is always in great anxiety in a sense. So this is being greater than God. A Vaishnava can be, in one sense, greater than God because he controls the Lord by their devotion. So that rope is no ordinary rope, as it says in the purport. It's like the supreme Brahman or something. Let's read on. The magnificent rope. What is that grand rope? It is Spurantya Diptedam, the source of shelter of a splendorous effulgence. The source of shelter of a splendorous effulgence. In this regard, it is suggested by the author that such a Mahapasha is the very abode of the endlessly radiant, concentrated Brahma Teja, or the all-pervading Brahman effulgence coming from the rope of the Lord, that which binds his body. That Dhamma means ropes. The Udara is the abdomen, or the stomach, Udara. So Krishna's bound around by that magnificent rope. It's not an ordinary rope, it's spiritual transcendence, binding some beautiful rope, binding Krishna's abdomen. He gets the name Damodara. And from Krishna's point of view, he's behaving, as we hear, he's behaving like an ordinary human child. Why? I mean, if he were to behave like in reverential mood, four-armed Narayan, there would be no such thing as this sweet Madhurya Leelas of Raj, or the Vatsalya Bhav of Mother Yasoda, which is so sweet, is devoid entirely of awe and reverence. And this is much more pleasing to the Lord than all the Vedic hymns and all the various reverential worship of his devotees, which is pleasing, but it's not as pleasing. Nothing compared to the pure love of the residents of Vrindavan. So Mother Yasoda's time, when Krishna is behaving like an ordinary child, is thinking, oh no, my freedom is now lost. Mother Yasoda is threatening him, no more sweets for you, no more milk for you. Now you have to, suffer the consequences of your activities. Even Balaram came later on, wasn't there at that time. He came later on and said, I warned you what this would happen. When we're going to the local neighbors' houses, stealing the butter and yogurt and sweets from the neighbors, I warned you, you're going to get it for this. You're going to get your due reward. So in one sense, he's bound up as a punishment for his mischievous behavior. On the other sense, he again, as we were hearing and discussing this morning, how Krishna arranges these various scenarios specifically to reveal, to manifest various pastimes, both for his own enjoyment, the enjoyment of the resonance of Raj, achieving some removal purpose, removing some anarthas from the heart, whatever it is, everything is there, and Krishna arranges. He's behind everything, and he's behind the movements of his pure devotees also to facilitate this. So Mother Yasoda is binding him up with ropes, also inspired by the Lord. He wanted to enjoy this pastime also, and here we are. He's the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They have no understanding. Prabhupada writes this. So the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they have no interest or concern with understanding Krishna. People start telling you Krishna's this and that. They're not interested. They just love Krishna. They want to love him unconditionally. Krishna loves this too, this familiar relationship. We do also, and generally we like relationships with those who are very familiar with us more than those who are at distance. Maybe respectful, reverential relationships, but the intimacy of these relationships far supersedes those. Yes, Mother, I have offended you. Please excuse me. Krishna's teaching like this. Lessons to be learned. Also there, behavior and so on and so forth. Krishna's teaching by example, you could say. We're all offenders. We're all offended in various ways and continue to do so. It may be not like it's overtly offensive, that we're by nature offensive towards others, hopefully not. But we may offend the holy name. We may sometimes offend Vaishnavas. We offend in service, seva, aparad, various kinds of offenses may be there in the course of our devotional service, which they do indeed. They could say they block our relationship with Krishna, but they don't completely block it. They may slow it down or cover it in some way or another. But in the right association and following the right process, then blockages can be removed on our course, removing the obstacles on the path of devotion. Our concern, Prabhupada writes, should be simply to love Krishna. The more we love Krishna, the more we shall become perfect. How do we love Krishna? Well, mostly we could say, well, I don't really love Krishna, but Prabhupada made it very approachable and accessible for us. By loving our service, by loving devotees, we can have some, whatever we understand love is for the deities, by serving them with our heart and soul, cooking for them, dressing them. This is a sign there's some love there. It may not be realized. It may not be fully blossomed, but it is there because it is voluntary. We're doing it for the pleasure of Krishna and all living entities, of course, consequently. But that love is manifested in a devotee by the sacrifice. Just like we have this Prabhupada book marathon in all over ISKCON. They have started already for some, or it's starting soon. And this is the sign, Prabhupada said, of your love. You're doing it voluntarily, even maybe in some parts of the world it's the summer. In New Zealand will be the summer. But here in Paris it's the winter. It was freezing last night. Maybe it'll be freezing again tonight, we don't know, but very cold. But in some places, I just noticed it was -20 in Moscow yesterday or the day before. Devotees are going out in the streets in this condition. They're studying books against, you could say, not all odds, but against many odds. I mean, the public, the authorities, the weather. So many things may be seen as being obstacles in the execution of one's service. But for the devotees, they're happy. This is love. They're willing to, like a mother is willing to undergo all kinds of suffering for her child. The devotees are willing to undergo all sorts of suffering to assist Srila Prabhupada in spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. Just a second. Yeah, so I'll read on a little bit more. So this is the devotee's mood. They simply want to love Krishna. Devotee simply wants to serve the will of God. In not pure devotee. We may not be on that platform. They don't even care about their own conditioning. They simply want to see that Krishna is satisfied. They sacrifice their lives for that principle and not worrying so much about their own situation, but rather always concerned about bringing pleasure to Krishna. We should not bother, Prabhupada says, very much to know Krishna, even to know him. That is not possible. No, who can know Krishna fully? Nobody can. We can know something about him. That's no problem. Prabhupada and the Acharyas have given us some knowledge about Krishna. We can't say we really know Krishna. He's unending. So nobody really knows Krishna. His qualities are ever expanding, inconceivable, ever expanding qualities, ever expanding form, name, everything. It's absolute. It cannot be measured by material methods. We should not bother. We should simply increase our unalloyed love for Krishna. That is the perfection of life. There's nobody, it's not within our capacity of a yogi, of jnani, of anyone to measure Krishna. The devotee doesn't even try. He just glorifies Krishna. They glorify Krishna, not spend their time trying to, analyze and, measure him and so on. He cannot be measured. He's inconceivable. Just like the ropes could not bind him. He can't measure. He looks small, but he cannot be bound. He's absolute, beyond the capacity of the material energy to capture him or in any way control Krishna. He's only controlled by the love of his devotees. After that, Tvadiya Udaraya Namaste. So you bowing down to that unfortunate rope. And now I bow down to your belly. That rope is the, as it says in the verse, is the abode of all the Brahman, practically speaking, transcendental fortunes, spiritual fortunes emanating from that glorious rope. And the reason for this, why bow down to the belly, is because while bound with ropes, you especially manifest the beauty and other qualities of your belly. It beautifies the belly, just like sometimes ladies, they wear the waistband. It beautifies them. And children, they often wear string around their little children around their waist in India. It's very beautiful. It enhances the qualities. And the belly is always beautiful. You could say it is Krishna's belly. But with a rope, this unfortunate rope makes it even more beautiful, more attractive, captivating. You especially manifest the beauty and other qualities of your belly, as well as the glorious characteristics of Vatsalya Lila and other pastimes. What is that belly like? It is stated Vishvasya Daham. That belly is the support for all the universes in creation, including all the stationary and moving beings contained therein. It's the support of all the universes in creation and all the stationary and moving entities contained therein. So everything's basically speaking supported by the belly of the Lord. He's lying down in the Garbhodak ocean also. And it's the support of all creation because he lies down there in the Garbhodak ocean. From his lotus navel, with his abdomen, it sprouts a gigantic lotus flower, lotus stem and flower on top. And all the seeds of the 14 worlds are all contained therein. They're all resting therein, sustaining the 14 worlds of the material creation. It could also be seen that during his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan, he boldly displayed the Vishwarupa or universal form to his mother On 2 occasions, when opening his mouth, she saw universal form. This is another indication of the Lord. Everything is within Krishna. He's the support reservoir of everything. Therefore, in such a pastime of binding him by the waist, Mother Yasoda bound up the whole universe. The whole universe, which is supported or coming from the navel of Krishna's waist, in one sense. Indeed, she brought the entire creation under her control. This is the proclamation. It's never possible to factually bind the all-pervading, limitless, potent Lord, who is Isha, the supreme controller, but he willingly accepts binding as an attribute of his super excellent affection for his devotees of Bhakti-Vatsalya Vishesh. And by that acceptance of binding, we are informed that such pastimes are imperceptible to all the logic and reasoning available in all the material universes. This is an intimation of his Aishvarya Vishesha, his attribute of majesty that is imperceptible. Our charts describe it, that this is one of the characteristics of God. Everything else is perceptible, but God is imperceptible. No one can measure him. No one can fathom the depth of his character and qualities and so on. Now, the reason for offering obeisances first to the rope and then unto the Lord's belly is because the rope is situated upon his belly. Is on the outside of the belly is the rope. Or furthermore, to indicate the ascending superiority and the significance of different things. So the rope is very significant. The belly is even more significant. Now, Namo Radhikaye, obeisances are offered unto his beloved Bhagavati Śrī Radhika. This is done in order to show that the mercy of his beloved enables one to fully attain the desired objective. The mercy of his beloved Radhika, Namo Radhikaya. Only by her mercy can one attain Krishna, or the desired object of everything we do. So he's also approaching Radharani here, Namo Radhikaya, to Diya Priyaya. In everything, no matter what we want to, and ultimately in the material world also, in her reflection in this material world is Maya, also facilitating the living entities in various ways to try to satisfy their desires. But ultimately the spiritual world is all by the grace of Radharani that one can approach Krishna. By offering obeisances unto Radhika, it is implied that obeisances are also being offered unto all of the gopis, because they all come from her. The mood of the gopis, but also the manifestation of the internal gopis, their expansions of Radharani, manifesting various characteristics. But Radharani is the source of all. She is the reservoir of all good qualities, all qualities. Or else Śrī Radhika is the foremost of them. Obeisances are offered unto her alone, or with the gopis, either way. The word Radhika is used here to denote the attributes and excellence of one who is always engaged in Sri Bhagavan's aradhana or worship. He's always arranging only for his pleasure. It's a personification of pure devotion, and everything, every single thought, word, and deed of Radharani is only for that purpose, to please Krishna. Therefore, Tvadiya Priyayai, obeisances unto your beloved Radharani, or else this name Radhika indicates Rudi, which is conveying a meaning not supported by derivation. It's even complicated. Therefore, regardless of her worship of you, she is still your eternally dear, most beloved. In other words, though she's worshipping Krishna, Krishna worships her. He's a dear, most beloved of Krishna eternally. In this connection, also the word Todiya indicates that not only is she dear to Krishna, but to all of your other devotees as well. She's the most dear. Mother Yasoda loved Radharani as much as her own son, practically. they're really inseparable in reality. In the same trance, no one's more, let's say, pure or dear to Krishna than Radharani. And she's the mine or the ocean of compassion. Sometimes we hear that the preacher is the most dear to the Lord because, why? Because of what we heard earlier, they're performing a sacrifice. Not an easy one, going out in public and trying to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. But Radharani, basically speaking, this is her mood. Sankirtan is her mood to bring other living entities back to their eternal constitutional position as servants of Krishna. This is preaching. So those devotees who are actually preaching Krishna consciousness in one sense are a manifestation of that compassion of Srimati Radharani. We read on. Therefore, regardless, we read that. In this connection also, the word Todiya indicates that not only is she dear to yourself, but to all your other devotees as well. So all devotees are pleased when they see the service of a devotee, not envious. It's not a word in a Vaishnava vocabulary in terms of their relationships, at least. They see all the wonderful service done by the devotee. Only I am hopeless, I am wretched, I'm an offender, I am not a devotee of any kind. And how wonderful the devotion of all the other devotees is. The devotee feels very humble like this, extremely humble. What more then could be said about how dear Radharani is to you? Additionally, the statement implies that you are also her Nitya Priya, eternally dear friend, beloved. By such, the excellence of Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna, Prema Vishesha is suggested. Thus, this word Priyayi Namaha in this verse can either mean my obeisance is unto you, Radhika's beloved, or my obeisance is unto Radhika, your beloved. Whoever is beloved to you, such a person is certainly worshipable for the entire universe. Therefore, since Radhika is your own dear most beloved, Namostu, I bow down before you. He really wants that mercy. And he's approaching all, that's like Prataparudra Maharaj approached all the devotees to try to get Mahaprabhu's mercy. So in this sense, Satyavata Muni is approaching the rope, the belly, the limbs, everything. You have it, please give it to me. There's a song, oh hey Vaishnava Thakur, I'm simply running behind you, saying Krishna, Krishna Boli, Yaitava Pachi. I'm running behind you, calling out, please, please give me Krishna. You have him, give him to me. Eagerness. So Satyavata is calling out to Krishna. We're calling out in approaching a person. There are various stages. He's asking for benedictions throughout his song, but here he's not asking particularly for any benediction. He's just glorifying the Lord from his heart. There's nothing else to do. He's come to that point. Let's see. Where are we? Whoever is beloved to Radharani, such a person is certainly worshipable for the entire universe. So worshipping the devotees is said to be more glorious than worshipping Krishna himself. Since Radhika is your own dear most beloved, I bow down unto her. And finally, at the conclusion of this prayer, the author desires to describe the supreme super excellence of the Rasa Lila and other transcendental pastimes that Lord Sri Krishna performs with Sri Radhika. And these are very confidential, the topmost of confidential topics, particularly the Rasa Lila. Interesting to note, it's described that the kirtan of Lord Chaitanya is the equivalent of Rasa Lila in Gaur Lila. And then when devotees go out onto the streets dancing and chanting, we're not exactly in the same position, but it should remind us of these intimate pastimes of the Lord. As Sankirtan itself is also a confidential topic in one sense, was made easily accessible. To really understand Sankirtan is very confidential. It's a replica of the Rasa dance, etc. So we focus on that in the commentary on this verse. Sanatana Goswami very clearly warns us not to try to jump over. First, we have to become absorbed, say, understanding Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission of spreading the holy names, etc. before one can genuinely understand or enter into these most confidential pastimes of Braj Leela, especially the Rasa Leela dance. Where are we? He concludes that Lord Shri Krishna performs with Radharani. But since these are topmost confidential topics, they are not mentioned directly. There's only an indication there, Nanta Lilaya indication, these eternal pastimes. Therefore, such confidential pastimes are referred to only by a mere dint as they are offered obeisances with the words Namo Nanta Lilaya, obeisances unto your limitless pastimes. It is unlimited obeisances to unlimited pastimes. There's no end to them. Krishna's qualities are unending. His pastimes are unending. We should be glorifying those pastimes by speaking about them favorably in the association of devotees particularly. The word Devaya indicates that obeisances are offered unto Bhagavan, who is Lokatar, supernatural, divine, transcendental. With this, it is intimated that by Damodar Krishna's divinely supernatural quality, then all the Leelas performed by him are also similarly transcendental. Everything about Krishna is transcendental, you could say. All of his pastimes, killing demons, reciprocating loving exchanges with his devotees, whatever they are, they're all transcendental. The logic of Madhurena Sampayat, all undertakings should be completed sweetly, applies here. Therefore, such confidential pastimes are referred to only by a mere dint, as they are offered obeisances with the word Namo Nanta Lilaya, obeisances unto unlimited pastimes. So we're supposed to be preaching means to bring us back into our constitutional relationship with Krishna, where we can truly bring Krishna pleasure. It's not just about the externals of preaching, it's also the internals. How many books we just threw, of course, is wonderful, very pleasing indeed. It has to be accompanied by the internal growth of mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. This coming, well, it's not already started, the Bhadra, not the Bhadra campaign, this is the Go to Goloka or Live to Share or something like that campaign to distribute Bhagavad Gita. And the world target is 3.7 million Bhagavad Gitas during this campaign, which started on the end of September up to the beginning of January. So it's a doable 1.7 million books. I just read Jayabhataka Maharaj was just encouraging preaching to his many followers and disciples in Bengal. And they have 5,000 Namahatas in Bengal. So he asked them all to distribute at least 100 each. That would be 500,000 Bhagavad Gitas. So like in India, they're distributing these Bhagavad Gitas like incredible, spreading this message, panacea, this relief to people in general. Cutting the knot of bondage in this material by binding them up to Krishna. Your Prabhupada is binding us to Krishna, binding us to the devotional service of the Lord. And there's no limits. We still try to get out. We still try to escape from that bondage of Krishna bondage. Krishna bandage or bondage. And Krishna won't let us. You may go for a little while, Prabhupada said, but you can never leave. You've got it. You've already been touched by that divine, merciful touch of the Lord. And you can't retract that one. We may be able to retract practical things, but not the mercy of Krishna like that. Of course, if we're offensive devotees, it would definitely be put on hold, if not destroyed, but at least on hold, or very damaged in various ways. We should try not to be offensive to anyone. Glorify the Lord, glorify his robe, glorify his belly, glorify his tradiya, his paraphernalia, glorify his devotees, glorify him in every single way that we can. Therefore, Ananta Lilaya Tubhyam Namaha, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are thus performing limitless pastimes. We sometimes think spiritual life may be a little dry, a little boring. What is it? The same thing every day, just making milk and garlands for the same person every day, every day and out, day in and out. Well, there is variety, there's unlimited variety there, as it states here, but he's also got this unlimited pastimes, so many pastimes, unlimited. We can never come to the end of it, never. We're only hearing a little drop in the great unlimited ocean. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. We're performing limitless pastimes. In other words, Ananta Lila is suggested to include all the pastimes associated with the realm of Gokula. I offer my obeisances unto these Leelas. Such a mood is most certainly expressed in this verse. So it's just a little commentary on this particular verse to try to help us to enter into the mood of the Dāmodarāṣṭaka, this mood of absorption or intense longing for pure devotional service, which then facilitates one's, eligibility to see the Lord, to be with the Lord, to play with the Lord, etc., to serve Him in various ways. It's intense longing to hear about Krishna's pastimes, and there's so many of them, unlimited pastimes. So we're on the last 2 days. I'm going to have to probably finish a little bit earlier today because I'm extremely tired. We had a very, very early morning this morning, and we also got up fairly early this morning, and day after day we've been getting ready for the marathon. We've unloaded 2 tons of books, sorted out all the book rooms, all the stocks, getting paraphernalia ready. Now we're getting cabinets and beds and so on for the devotees to sleep in when they come here for the marathon. And books, we got book bags and book trolleys and prasadam for distribution. We just need all of your mercy and blessings, please, that we can render this little service in the actual mood of Sankirtan, in this mood that we're longing to please Radharani, we're longing to please Prabhupada. This should be our life mission as the residents of Vrindavan, Madhya Sota in particular here. She's longing for this opportunity to bring pleasure to her child. So we want to bring pleasure to Krishna. This is the objective goal. And one great way of bringing pleasure to Krishna is to distribute books about him, relevant books about him. So wherever you are, please try at least to distribute some books during this December marathon, as many as you can within your capacities. But first of all, we need to get books. We don't have books. We can indirectly sell them, but not generally on the street. At least you have to have books if you're going to distribute books. Organize nicely, have strong sadhana as much as you can, and don't be afraid. We've got everything to gain, but we hold ourselves back, a little fear, a little hesitancy. Yeah. But what have we got to lose? We got to lose this barrier within our hearts, and that causes inhibitions. Not easy for many, and maybe it takes some time. But this offering oneself as an instrument for Krishna's mercy, for Radharani's compassion, to touch the heart of a conditioned soul, capture that living entity. So I'm going to finish there. If there are any questions, you're welcome to ask. You can imagine I'm pretty tired this morning, so you have to forgive us for that one. But there's nothing we can do about that in this life. In this conditioned world, there's no such tiredness in the spiritual world, maybe there, but it's blissful, and it just enhances the sweetness of loving reciprocations therein. And within this material world, it's one of the sufferings, in a sense, difficult to do what you want to do or to think clearly.
Hare Krishna.
There's a wonderful devotee online. I don't know who it is.
It's me, Gurudev Shambhari.
Hari, are you in London or in Manila?
I just got from Vrindavan this morning.
Are you in? You
So
just came.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm in London now.
Oh, you're in London. My goodness me. Hare
So
Krishna.
it's freezing. I'm not accustomed to the weather. It's really cold.
It's free.
It's very cold.
Yeah, it's very cold in Europe at the moment. It's the winter.
Yeah.
Winter means cold.
Vrindavan was nice.
We have to warm up. You warm up by hearing and chanting and dancing.
Yeah. I just want to ask Maharaj, how do we develop this longing mood?
This longing mood.
Longing,
Takes a
yes, to
long,
serve Krishna.
it might take a long time to develop this longing mood, but it doesn't have to. We did discuss it. Perhaps you were not with us. You were probably on the way yesterday. I think it was yesterday. We touched on the similar topic of how to develop that spirit that the pure devotees were hearing about here, that longing for pure devotional service, that longing to bring pleasure to Krishna. As long as we're thinking of bringing pleasure to ourselves, it's not, what do you say, mechanical? We're going through the mechanics which may awaken that genuine longing. That genuine longing is not one of, let's say, sentiment only. It's not one of because spiritual sentiment, you could say, but it's not like, because I'm suffering, therefore. That may be one incentive, but that's not the mood of the pure devotees. There's nothing else. They just want that. So how do we develop it? Well, we try to associate with them. One has to take Raganu, what's his name? Jadbara, talking to King Rahugana, and Prahlad Maharaj also describing them. One has to smear the dust of the pure devotees all over your body. And that some people may take physically as a factual activity, but it really means to become absorbed. We were discussing this morning in the class the methodology of focusing at their stage on our, let's say, conditional stage, where we're still pretty much depending upon material things, and we're still pretty attached to them, probably, in many ways at least. Prabhupada said we should try to, one time Prabhupada said we should rack our brains in thinking how we can help spread Krishna consciousness. We may not think that that's directly longing for Krishna, but it is a stage where devotional service is Krishna, it's Todiya, it's Krishna's paraphernalia, it's connected to Krishna, it's his internal energy. So we're always thinking how to enter deeper into that internal energy by how we can improve our service, how we can spread Krishna consciousness, how you can make the garlands nicer, how we can cook nicer for Krishna, how we can please the devotees more, how we can, whatever it is, distribute more books, chant more attentively, always thinking positively like this, how we can improve our service. And you feel the effects of that. So that gives a further incentive. We all know that when we're inattentive or we're very lazy in our activities, we don't feel any pleasure practically. So it becomes almost like a burden or forced. But when we actually put our hearts into that, then it becomes. And how does that's evoked usually by the association of devotees who are more advanced, they're more enthusiastic, or they're more they're desirous of pure devotional service, longing. So different stages will be there. We may be in the beginning, as Krishna says, we may be longing to get relief from suffering. We may be longing to achieve some material objective. We may be longing for liberation. We may be longing for various things in the beginning, or just curious. We want to find out. Beginning stage, very beginning stages. Then coming into the association of devotees, we may be longing, I wish I could be like that devotee. They seem to be so fixed up. Or then we may be longing for a particular service. I mean, that's maybe literally for a particular service. It's not pure, it's motivated by conditional reasons, but it's all part of the step-by-step process of somehow or another becoming attached to Krishna, somehow or another becoming engaged in his ninefold process of devotional service. And you can pray also. We discussed prayer yesterday. We can pray for the Lord's mercy that we do develop this genuine lolium, this genuine spirit of longing, not just, with really we want something else, and we externally we're expressing, oh, I want Krishna. This is very much the influence of the Sahajyas, those who take Prakrita Bhaktas, they take devotional service very cheaply. And in many cases, they really take it cheaply. They really ultimately see themselves as the enjoyer. And most of the world is in that mood. And if God exists at all as a separate entity, he's an order supplier. He's not so much an object of our unalloyed love, he's more of an ordered supplier. We're more interested in our own pleasure, our own situation in many cases, than we are in the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And that's why it's so important to have the association or the guidance of a pure devotee, because they can reveal these secrets to us. And most people in the world have no such guidance. They're following their own whims, their own senses, their own sentiments. So they may be a little pious, they're whatever they are. But to get that, the real, let's say, prema, real love, is not available like that. It's the mercy of the devotee. Prema is ultimately Krishna alone can bestow that. But by the grace of the pure devotees, as we saw with Nalakavara Manigriva, by the grace of Narada Muni, they were not just delivered, but they received prema bhakti by the mercy of Narada. So by the mercy of the pure devotees of the Lord, we can develop these characteristics of devotional service. We have to take that mercy, means following their footsteps, following their instructions, etc., etc. Then the longing will gradually come. And when we hear about it, as we advance, we hear more and more about it. And the association of devotees, then naturally the longing, when you see that longing in others, that they're so enthusiastic and eager to get that mercy, then that desire can awaken step by step within us by the grace of the Lord. We have to desire, we have to want it. We may not have it, we need to pray for it. And we have to act in a way which the Lord may bestow upon us by serving his devotees, serving his mission, etc. Anything else? Hare Krishna. Anything
Thank
else?
you, Marge, for that answer. Wonderful answer. Because I just observed, like, here in London, doing my rounds, I have to like really push myself, remind myself that this is a vow and I'm doing this for myself. But staying in Vrindavan, everything was like automatic.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's a very good point.
I was waking up pretty much every day for Mangala Artik, doing my rounds, finishing everything
Wow.
before 10.
Wasn't it?
And now I'm back here, and I don't know, it literally and physically and emotionally feels cold, Maharaj. Like 24 hours ago, I was there, it was fun, and now it's like really cold and somewhat depressing mood, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so that gives us a little taste. It's still mixed, of course. We're still enjoying or seeing ourselves in the center, but it's so much easier to, this is the whole atmosphere. That's why holy dhams are so important also. We try to create a holy dham wherever we are. That does help. Of course, there's a temple in London, there's temples in most cities, major cities of the world. And we try to take advantage of the Sangha as much as we can online. If you have some methodology of going online, you can still see and maybe even go on parikramas online to a certain extent. Try to keep that spirit of absorption, that spirit of favorable devotional service going and not compromise it. And it's the fact that it is harder, especially when you're living away from the temple, away from the association of devotees. It's naturally hard. But if you try to make your home more like Vrindavan, try to create what is special about Vrindavan, well, besides the obvious, it's a place of Krishna's appearance and pastimes, etc., that there are many saintly persons there. There are thousands of temples there. Pretty much everything there is geared towards service of Radha and Krishna. So it's quite a support situation there. We try to do the best we can in our own homes, wherever we may live, and try to make that into a holy dham with nice pictures, keep it clean, have a nice altar, hearing and chanting going on. Maybe some paraphernalia from the holy dham can be there, some pictures to remind us of the spiritual realm in our rooms, and do our best to try to make it in a way that it will be pleasing to Krishna and not just pleasing to ourselves. So you find out what will please Krishna in one's home and try to do that in much as we can. Yeah, but that's what the holy Dhammas temples are for that reason. Those are supposed to get a surcharge when they go to the temple. Supposed to get enlivened, enlightened, enthused, etc. To go forward to wherever they live with more determination, more purity. So hearing from the pure devotees of the Lord, hearing about them is also extremely powerful, extremely potent. So read Prabhupada, read Amrita or some other similar literature to develop that unalloyed devotion, determination to push forward Krishna consciousness and practice Krishna consciousness. Okay, I'm going to finish there, everybody. I'm really sorry, but I'm really, really, really tired. I have a busy schedule. We've got to go out, getting things ready for the marathon. We've got to come back then for the afternoon program. And then we've got to talk with the devotees, how many books each devotee can distribute during the marathon in their own homes, in what not their homes maybe, but in their own lives. And devotees are taking, and you can do the same thing wherever you are. As I mentioned earlier, Jabadaka Maharaj has asked every Namahat to distribute at least 100 books. And there are 5,000 Namahats in Bengal alone. That's already 500,000 books. Just by one group doing 100 books. Imagine. We don't have so many Namahats. We don't really have any. We have a few pockets. But if every little group of devotees could try their best to distribute some books, at least some books during the marathon, this will be, I say, a great blessing for those who give, those who receive. Hare Krishna. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada.
Jai. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Whatever's left of it, and a wonderful marathon if you're going to be involved in the book marathon. If you're not, also you can help if you want by helping those who are, even if you can't distribute books yourself. You can help those who are, maybe by either sponsoring books or helping prasadam or something or another to inspire others. By serving others, we can also become inspired very nicely. We get the blessings. We need the blessings of the Vaishnavas. This is another aspect. Krishna's mercy comes when we get the blessing of the Vaishnavas. Service to the Vaishnavas is so important. H.I. Vaishnava. Nistaya Payachikeva. Without serving the Vaishnavas, no one can go back to God. So, Hare Krishna, all glories to Prabhupada. Jai, before I fall on the computer here. I'm rocking back and forth. Haribo, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Haribo.
Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭaka ki jai.
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 Please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All the devotees in the Philippines soon. The devotees in America this year. I'm planning to go to America. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to Australia, New Zealand this year. Just don't have the time and energy. So this year will be Krishna allowed. That means next year. Philippines, we didn't go much there yet. And Malaysia and India. We've only spent 3 weeks in the last 4 years this year, so we'll spend a little bit more time there. And then to America sometime in the year, this coming year. And then the rest of the time probably in Europe, I guess. Trying to do a little service here. Prabhupada's mission. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Lord, indeed. Hare Krishna.